Welcome to Wingit Airfield. So, today it's going to be a little introduction. Like I say, sometimes I do things that are smart and wise, and sometimes I do things that are not. 2.5 years ago, there was an estate auction on this piece of property I'm sitting on, and uh, 18 acres, has a grass airstrip, has a hangar, has a barn, a garage, and a house that was built in 1957. The grass airstrip at one time was registered. Um, it is now re-registered, so fast forward a little bit. Um, so at this estate auction, uh, the property was at auction at noon on. So we had a pre-discussed price for the auction, and in my normal fashion, I ran the bidding up and overbid our price enough, significant enough. So at the end of the bidding, we bought a farm. Or should I be saying we quote we bought the farm unquote? I'll let you decide. This is the first video of many in a series. It's going to cover a couple of years, so be patient. It's going to be a little rough. It may be a little long, but we're going to learn. We're going to get better with this content creation. So as experience grows, we'll get better. Before we get into it, I want to give a quick little shout out. I want to get a shout out to Brock at Rock Hill Farms. He lives about 2 hours east of us. And get a shout out to BRC Follow Deer. They live about 3 miles west of us. Watching their videos convinced us to just do it. Give it a try. We'll get better. They'll admit it too, that they'll get better. So go check out Rock Hill Farms. Check out what Brock's doing, and go check out BRC Follow Deer. That's pretty awesome. Those deer are cute. Get to see, sometimes we get to see them when we drive by. So with that, welcome to Wingit Airfield. Let's go on tour. Hello everybody, and welcome to the channel. This is Wingit Airfield Ranch out here in the hayfield. This field was about 13 acres. It was baled up last week, and here we go. They had about 30 large round bales out of it. Not too bad. It needs some work. It's a pretty nice field. So today we're going to give you a quick little tour of the property, show you what we have going on. I'm over on the west side of the field. This property, through the years, has been a cattle ranch farm, has been a greenhouse, and it was an auctioneer's property. So out here on the west side, this is the neighbor's property. And this area here is between a hedgerow and some overgrown area. This was through the historical photos visible online, this was the lane. And we come out here into the hayfield. So this hayfield used to go quite a ways south. It is now only about 2,000 feet long. Out that way, there's a major highway. There'll be a car going by here pretty quick. This field used to continue down a little further. It has stopped when that highway was put through. And right here in the middle, there's a little hump. That was a fence row. So that was open hayfield. And this area here at one time, this was a pasture. And there's pictures where there were cows out here. So it's actually a pretty nice hayfield. You might be able to see a windsock over there. We actually have our runway going all the way down, and there's another windsock down there by the road. So we have 2,000 foot in the field, and we have another extra 300 or 400 feet up through the yard that we can use for an overrun. So welcome to the ranch. This is out in the field. going to take you up and show you some of the other buildings that we have and talk a little bit about what our plans are. See you up there. And back again. Not quite up to the property. Just wanted to show a little bit about what we have to do out here in the field. So there is a hedgerow that runs along here, and over in this area here, these are just overgrown trees. What we want to do is keep this area mowed down, and then I'll show you the other direction behind the camera there, behind where you're standing. We're gonna put the beehives out here. So we're gonna mow this down, and we're gonna overseed some wildflowers, let them grow. Maybe further down there, we'll put some clover. There'll be deer crossings, so we'll put some clover down there. But we kind of need to clean up some of these other trees here. So for those of you not familiar with the Midwest and Kansas, Oklahoma, going down into Texas, these trees right here are invasive. They're Western red cedars. These things are ridiculous. They sprout up everywhere. So part of the agreement with the hayfield, I don't have the equipment to mow and bale up the hayfield, to bale it up and rake it. So part of the agreement with allowing a local rancher to come in, mow it, rake it, bale it, and take the hay is we're bartering work. So he's going to bring his skid loader. For this year's harvest, he's going to bring his skid loader and do a day's worth of tree shearing and clean out some of these trees along the other hedgerow on the east side of the field and over here on the west side of the field. And I'll show you what some of these look like. So all along here, we're just going to thin them down. We'll let them grow up again as a hedgerow, but as you can see here, they encroach in. So we want to clear this off, and we're going to make the path for the tractor to come down through here. So also, here's a little story. As you can see, there's no idea what this was, but there's a power box there. It's all metal, wood on the other side. Unsure what it was. The previous owner and previous owners put all their junk out here in the hedgerow. Pretty typical for an old piece of property. This property was in use going into the 40s, I'm sure prior to that even. Earliest evidence of dates that we have seen is 1947, and that's on the storm shelter. We'll show you that. But here is a bunch of scrap metal, large 8-inch PVC pipes. I'm sure there's some snakes down in there. Some grill. This is old land plane. These wheels, that's an auger chassis. Old TV, if you can see it in there. And some more equipment. So from this section here, going up, and where all that tall grass is over here, this is just full of junk. There's metal, there's wood, there's realtor signs, there's bed springs. So this winter, we're gonna get out here, and when all the grass is dead, we're gonna get in there and start cutting up the metal, start loading up the dump truck and hauling that off to the scrap yard. We're not so worried about scrap metal prices. People talk about you need to wait for the prices to come up. I really don't care. The goal is to get it out of here. I offered it to some scrappers. Scrappers, they want to get paid to haul your stuff to go get money, so forget about them. I got a dump truck, got a torch, got a tractor. We're gonna load it up, we're gonna haul it ourselves. There's a local place, and there's even a scrap yard that will drop off a large dumpster, and for a fee, a percentage of what the weight is, they'll haul it off. Our concern is just getting it cleaned up. I'm not concerned about the money with it. I just don't want to take it to a landfill. Tires are another issue. There's a story about tires. There's a couple on this trailer here, but there's some more. We'll get into that here in a little bit. Now let's go take a look at the buildings. Here I am standing in front of the runway. Here it is here. 2,000 foot long, and I don't know, 35, 40 foot wide enough for a single engine airplane. So you're a pilot out there, you good with your short, soft field, leave me a message. I'll tell you where we are. You can come in. It's a little rough. It'll handle it. It's no worse than any other off-paved airport landing, and plan for mornings during the summertime when it gets hot here. It'll make you pucker a little bit when how much runway you're going to eat up taking off, but it's plenty for a Cessna 172, 182, a Cub. Heck yeah, it's perfect for a Cub. Any of the other off-airport type light aircraft. And welcome back. Standing in front of the hangar. This is on the east side, full hangar doors. This structure was built sometime in the 80s. It's a WIC building, and unsure if it had the hangar doors originally. We're thinking it did, and the concrete pad was put on here later. Previous owner, I'd rather be flying. The previous owner, one we bought, his name was Chuck. He was a pilot and auctioneer. He used his aircraft to go look at different properties for sale. But this is the hangar. It had some work that needed to be done. One of the things we did was these panels. Had these panels recently replaced. We had some work done up on the roof. If you can see in there, you can barely see the grain truck over there. It's a wreck. We'll give a tour inside there after we get the hangar cleaned up. But here in Kansas, we get some pretty heavy winds. So there was a day we had sustained 50-mile-an-hour winds with gusts 70, 80 plus. And I was inside the hangar one day, and I noticed the roof sheathing was kind of bouncing up and down on the north side. The wind was out of the south, currently on the south side looking at it. And on the north side, the panels were bucking. So I go over north side, I'm looking up. I'm getting an angle to look up, and I noticed that there were a lot of screws missing. So I got a hold of a guy who gave me a number for another guy. He came out with a buddy. He replaced all of these clear panels on this side because they were yellowed and brittle. Some of them were broken. Replaced the clear panels on those east doors, and then went along the roof. Any screws that were squeezed down too tight that squished the rubber washer out, he replaced. And on the north side, he put in an entire bag of screws. They spent probably, two guys up on the roof spent about 45 minutes putting screws in. And when they did it, they replaced the ridge cap. He mentioned that it had the incorrect ridge cap for this type of roof, so the ridge cap was replaced. Little history on this barn. It was built sometime in the 80s, according to the pictures, and it was not red. It was a bluish, maybe white color. It may have been white. Some of the pictures are a little hard to tell on Google Earth. And the Google car that drives by, you can see some of the previous pictures. But in 2017 time frame, the exact date I'm not sure, there was a really bad storm that came through here. It was not classified a tornado, but there were really strong winds and hail. This barn got damaged, so previous owner had an insurance claim, and insurance company sent out and they resheeted this entire barn. So the roof and siding is all new. If they replace the clear, they use a very inferior product. It was only 2017 and it was yellowed and brittle. That may have remained. So That might not have gotten hurt from the hail. The house got re-siding, new roof, and some windows replaced, and there's a lot of damage to some of the trees. But that's the hangar. In front of the hangar, this older structure, we call this the milk house. This was here going back into the possibly late 50s or 60s. I'd have to look to be sure. But we call this the milk house. It was originally a little square section, and then this lean-to on the right was added. That's the south side. We call this the milk house because it reminds us that of a milk house on a larger barn. What this was, there were greenhouses here. So there was a greenhouse over here. There was a greenhouse here, and there was some more there. There were a total of four. There were a total of 4 greenhouses on this property. This was a floral shop. So here's a sidewalk, and this sidewalk goes under the hangar and dead ends there. So there were 2 greenhouses over here. There's some evidence of it there. This was the florist shop. Right now it is not in a condition to show the interior. If you follow anything we have been doing prior to relaunching this YouTube channel, you'll know that we'd been working on another piece of property, and when it was time to bring all the tools and stuff home, everything came home and just got dumped. So wintertime project, then we'll show you the plans. So here's another concrete pad with a sidewalk that goes over. This was another greenhouse. Then there was another over here, and they were large. They went quite a ways back. So this was a smaller one, but that's what we call the milk house. Here's a sad state for a garden. This garden had plans to be phenomenal, and in Kansas we typically get April, May rains, and then it gets hot, and you pump water and irrigate June, July, August, and you might get some rain in September. This year was different. April, May, June, it rained a lot, and this entire garden got completely flooded out. Sweet corn, that little stand right there is all that's left. The corn down at the other end, that's popcorn, tomatoes, watermelon, pumpkins. There is some regular melon coming up that's been replanted. So we replanted 3 times, and after the 3rd flood, it was too late. We called it quits. Try again next year. Moving on. This building is original as far back as I can tell. 1952 is as far back as I can see pictures. We call this barn the stables. There's a story about all these tires. I could tell a story for 30 minutes about these tires and wheels. Little insight, all of these were found in the hedgerow where the junk pile is. And we have already gotten rid of 85 tires without the wheels. So if you want a wheel, tractor wheel, I'll let you have them. They're free. If you're a follower, you get a wheel. Hit that like, subscribe, and a little bell for notifications. I'll send you a wheel. I won't send you a wheel. You can come get it. These doors need a little work. They're screwed shut. This side here had been modified. I don't think those doors were original, how it was set up. And got a David Bradley. Got a set of David Bradley wheels here. I would highly recommend getting new tires. Just saying, you know, but you want to try them, you can. So anyhow, we call this one the stables because on this side there are 4 bays plus that end bay. So that end bay comes in here. Then there are 4 bays here. It needs a little work. You know, a little piece of sheet metal trying to pop up. That's another wintertime project. Go up there and we'll put some screws in. Fun fact of this building, much of the structure inside there was built with old railroad bridge trusses, boards, power line boards. So whatever, there was some railroads that came through here. They used them. Some of the metal. We'll give a tour inside there at another date. Quite interesting. It's a solid structure. It's held up to a lot of Kansas storms. Doors need a little adjustment. There's concrete. There's the Massey Ferguson. We'll do a review on the Massey. Nice tractor, hydrostatic drive, 48 horsepower, loader, brush hog. We got bale spear, box blade, pallet forks. We actually have 2 brush hogs. Really great deal. I picked that up down out of Arkansas. I was almost ready to buy a TYM. That Massey showed up and I couldn't resist. So anyway, so this little concrete pad is a little dirty, but it says Rawlings 1950. I believe it's a 50 because I think that is a chip out of the concrete. I don't believe it's an 8. And this building was here in 1952. It has power and it has a tree trying to rip it down. So this tree is gonna have to go. There's outside speaker. So unsure what that was used for. You know, obviously music, but there was outside speaker here, and there was power from up there going over to the hangar. It connected right in the corner of the milk house lean-to and the hangar, and there was a power pole here. But these stumps, those trees were leaning. They had to go, and to take them out, we removed the power line. But we have power. We're going to trench, once we grind those stumps out of there, we're going to trench power back out to the hangar. That's going to be essential. Future project. We'll take you along. Power pole was here quite some time ago. It's fun looking at all this old stuff. Here's the old bucket with the switch. There's a bird's nest up in there. There was a light up there. But yeah, it's a solid barn. We like it. We're glad there's concrete in there. It's going to take a while to clean up. Might take a couple of months. There's the portable house. Be taking that on a trip soon. Here is an original garage. This had carriage doors, so right here, hinges. So it had double carriage doors here. It is rough cut boards with metal strips between. I love it. 52. Yeah, the roof is asphalt now. Back then it was probably shake. Original foundation. There were a couple of windows here of elm trees. A couple of large elm scraggly trees. That's what they look like down in Kansas. It's typical. The windstorms really tear them up. So these are starting to drop a lot of dead branches. I hate to do it, but they got to go before they create damage that is expensive. So a couple of elm trees are going to come down. Yes, that's the garage. That was, as far as I could tell, pre-1952. Same with the stables. Over here in this area, it's getting some cleanup. I'll start with this sidewalk. So the sidewalk comes from the house, comes over here to the hedgerow. Let's see if I can get a little ways in there without getting full of stickers and burrs. So in here, if you can see, there was a well. There's a hand pump laying in the weeds. Right now it's got a cover on it. It's dry. Shine a flashlight down there. It's dry. So there was not rural water running down the road, pressurized by the city, when this property was habitated. Yes, say that a few times. When this property was first had somebody living on it, so there was well water, and I imagine the sidewalk made it easy for them to walk out there and pump water. This is a storm shelter. This storm shelter has a date scratched in the concrete, 1947. So take a look how thick that concrete is. Here's my water bottle. Tornado is not going to hurt you down in there, and that foundation wall is just as thick. Here's the front of it. The dates are underneath the door, but look at that. That's a massive wall, and that's the wall that goes all the way down. Concrete steps. Tour the property. There'll be more to come. We'll get into each one in more detail. Talk about what we're going to do. Some other areas of interest is right here behind me. This brushy area. There were a couple of trees removed. There's some junk in there from previous owners piling stuff up. This is going to get all removed. This is going to be the outdoor entertainment area. It's away from the house. It's not in the field, but it's kind of on the edge. And there may possibly, we'll see what happens, there might be a gazebo put in there. So we'll let you know. I'm hoping to find a butler and put one of those up. There'll be fire pit, outdoor grill, outdoor kitchen. Enough about that, but more to come. That's the introduction. Welcome to Wingit Airfield Ranch, and comment, like, subscribe, and more to come. This is the first one. It might be a little rough, understand.